Live now, so let me share my screen here. Okay.
Prabhu, so this is the next song in the Prarthana series. Then Bodhika song 3. प्राणेश्वर निवेदन जन कोरे गोविंद गोकुल चंद्र परम आनंद कंडा गोपीकुल प्रिया देखो मोरे प्राणेश्वर निवेदन जन कोरे तू तुआ प्रिया पद सेवा धन मोरे दीबा तुम्ही प्रभु करुणार निधी परम मंगल यशे श्रवण परशरशे कारकी बकरय नाहे सिद्धी दारुणा संसारा गती विषम विषयामती तुरा विस्मरण शेलो बुके जर जर तनु मन अचेतन अनुक्षण जियन्ते मरण वेलो दुखे मोहेनु अधम जने कोरो कृपा निरीक्षणे दास कोरी राखो वृंदावने श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम प्रभु मोरा गौराधाम नरोत्तम लोयनु शरणे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Translation. O Master of my life, this person places an appeal before you, O Govind, O Moon of Gokul, O source of all transcendental bliss, O beloved of the gopis, please cast your glance upon me. O my Lord, you are an ocean of mercy. Please give me the treasure of service to your lotus feet. Hearing your supremely auspicious glories is the greatest nectar for the ears. If you bestow your mercy, then what difficult task cannot be accomplished? I wander through this world of suffering, my mind fixed on the objects of the senses, which bring only pain, and my chest pierced by the javelin of forgetfulness of you. My body and mind are withered and shattered, and from moment to moment I become unconscious. Immersed in pain, I am like a living corpse. Please give me a merciful glance. Make me your servant and allow me to stay in Vrindavan. The golden complexioned person who bears the name Sri Krishna Chaitanya is my master. Narottam Das takes shelter of him. So Narottam Das Thakur is saying that I'm appealing to you, O Krishna. Please cast your glance upon me. Please be merciful to me, um, so that I be able to hear the nectar of your pastimes through my ears, and I feel the taste in chanting your name and hearing your katha. Because right now my mind is fixed in the objects of the senses, in sense gratification. But and I am facing all this pain because of forgetfulness of you. And I'm like a living corpse. So please grant me your mercy and allow me to stay in Vrindavan. So Vrindavan is also in the mind. Let my mind be always be there in Vrindavan. And I take complete shelter of you. So yesterday, Asit Krishna Maharaj was mentioning that there are two types of bhav. There is bhautik bhav and there is adhyatmik bhav. And he was saying that there is a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, bhav hi bhavakaran. So there is, I found this verse, and let me share. I can pull this verse. This verse is saying that the translation. Well, the last line says bhava hi bhavakaranam. Says obsessed with hatred of Lord Krishna throughout 3 lifetimes, Shishupal attained the Lord's transcendental nature. Indeed, one's consciousness determines one's future birth. That's what it means. Bhava hi bhavakaranam. Bhavakaranam. One's consciousness determines one's future birth. So, in the second paragraph, Prabhupada writes that although Shishupal acted as an enemy of Krishna, he was not for a single moment out of Krishna consciousness. He was always absorbed in the thought of Krishna, and thus he got the salvation of Sayujya Mukti, merging into the existence of the Supreme, and finally became reinstated in his original position of personal service. The Bhagavad Gita corroborates the fact that one who is absorbed in the thought of the Supreme Lord at the time of death immediately enters the kingdom of God after quitting his material body. So we have to be absorbed in thought of Krishna. Of course, Shishupal, what he did was not bhakti, but he was absorbed. His consciousness was absorbed out of envy towards Krishna. And so was Kansa out of anger, and gopis out of love for Krishna. So our consciousness has to be absorbed in Krishna because our thoughts determine our future birth. That's what this verse is saying. So I'm going to read one pastime of. So this pastime is from a book by Mahanidhi Swami, Radha Krishna pastimes at Radha Kund. So Mahanidhi Swami is saying that sometimes when pilgrims visit Radha Kund and hear about the enchanting pastimes that Radha and Krishna enjoyed here, they innocently ask, "Is it possible to see these pastimes even today?" The answer is yes. You can definitely see. Radha and Krishna are still here today enjoying their pastimes in Radha Kund and all over Vraj Mandal, but you must have special eyes to see them. The Yamal scripture says, Vrindavanam paritajyasya kvachit neva gacchati. Bhagavan Sri Krishna never takes one step out of Sridham Vrindavan. The Srimad Bhagavatam also confirms Krishna's eternal presence here by repeatedly using verbs in the present tense when describing Krishna's pastimes. Like in first canto 110:26 we find verse where the residents of Hastinapur are saying, "Oh, how virtuous is the land of Mathura! For Sri Krishna has appeared there and still wanders in play." The verb in this verse, the verb anchati, is the present is in the present tense to denote the eternal nature of Krishna's pastimes in Vraj. The word anchati means he moves about, but it may also mean that he honors. So, taken in that sense, it indicates that Krishna honors the Vrajvasis by remaining eternally present in Vrajbhumi. Similarly, in the fourth canto, 4:8-42, the verse says, "The forest Madhuvan is most auspicious because there the Supreme Lord Hari is always present." In the 10th canto, there is a verse which says, "In Mathura, Lord Hari is always present." Like that, so there are so many verses. And one verse is saying, "The cultured ladies of Mathura said, while wandering about enjoying different pastimes, Krishna vibrates his flute and as he tends the cows in the company of Balram." So all these verses, they're in present tense, means Krishna is performing his pastimes right now also. Sri Krishna exhibits two kinds of pastimes called visible and invisible, prakata and aprakat. 50 centuries ago, Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan were prakat, which means visible to all, both the devotees and the non-devotees. Today, however, Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavana are aprakat or invisible to the sight of the common man. Who can and who cannot see Krishna in Vrindavan is nicely explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita, verse 1520, which says, "The land of Vrindavan is touchstone, and the forests abound with wish-fulfilling trees, but the material eyes see it as an ordinary place. But with the eyes of divine love, one can see the real Vrindavan, wherein Krishna is eternally enjoying pastimes with the cowherd boys and the cowherd girls." The conclusion is that Radha and Krishna and all their eternal associates are forever relishing pastimes of loving bliss in Radha Kund and all over Vrajtham. And if one has a special eyes of love, he can see them even today. 500 years ago, there was a great devotee living at Radha Kund named Srila Sanatan Goswami. One day he met his younger brother Sri Rupa Goswami at Radha Kund and asked him, "Rupa, what are you writing these days?" Srila Rupa Goswami read out one verse from a poem he had just composed. He wrote, "Nav Gaur Chan Gaurim Pravarendevaram Baram Manistavaka Vidyuti Vene Vyalangana Fanam. Hey Vrindavaneshwari Radha, I repeatedly offer my respects to you. Your bright golden complexion, like fresh gorachan, looks so beautiful, covered in cloth of the color of an attractive blue lotus flower. The top part of your shiny black hair braid is decorated with jewels, making it appear like the jeweled hood of a female serpent. So, hearing this, Shriya Sanatan Goswami explained, Rupa, our Swamini Radha is a treasure house of all good qualities. Radha is very gentle, sweet, and charming, and Radha is Shyam's dearly beloved. So, how can you compare the wavy cobalt black braided hair of Radhika to a poisonous black serpent? Shri Rupa smiled and humbly requested his elder brother to then suggest a better description. So Sanatan Goswami could not think of anything immediately, however, so he walked away to contemplate on this matter. Upon reaching the west side of Radha Kund, Srila Sanatan Goswami saw an amazing sight. He saw Srimati Radharani sitting on a swing suspended from the branches of a huge Kadamba tree. A gentle breeze blew over the kund. The bees were buzzing, and the sweet fragrance of blossoming Kadamba flowers filled the air. The Sakhis were pushing Radha to and fro, singing a beautiful melody and laughing cheerfully. Much to his surprise, Srila Sanatan saw a black serpent with a red jewel shining on its expanded hood. That snake was slithering up the swing black tresses of Radhika. Fearing that Radhika might get bitten by the poisonous serpent, Sanatan ran out towards Radha, shouting, Radhe, Radhe, watch out, there is a black serpent behind you in your hair braid. When he came nearer, however, Sanatan suddenly lost the vision. There was no Radha, no Sakhis, and no swing. He collapsed on the ground, crying in joy over the unique experience he just had. Due to the absolute purity of his heart, Sanatan Goswami was granted a vision of the Nitya Leela, Radha riding on a swing, Jhulan Leela. Such is the power of Rajdham and the causeless mercy of Srimati Radharani. This pastime took place 400 years ago, but even today, pure devotees of the Lord are seeing such pastimes of Radha Madhav going on right now in Radha Kund. Krishna is very kind and affectionate to his loving servants. Therefore, Sri Krishna is known as Bhakta Vatsal. So, to solve Sanatan's dilemma and support the writing of Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Krishna personally arranged this remarkable pastime. This Leela also proves that Radha and Krishna always reciprocates with the love of their pure devotees. Returning to his brother, Sri Sanatan excitedly said, Rupa, listen, a most incredible thing just happened. Kishori ji just granted me a very special darshan. I saw Radha on a swing being pushed by her sakhis. Then suddenly I noticed a shiny black cobra with a jewel on its hood climbing up Radhika's back on her hair braid. Instantly upon seeing that, I realized that your poetic metaphor is perfect. So there is no need to correct it. The place where Sri Sanatan Goswami had this darshan of Srimati Radharani is called Jhulan Tal. Today it is demarcated by a stone structured shaped like an inverted letter U, located on the west bank of Radha Kund, just opposite the old Radha Krishna Mandir. So yeah, this was the pastime. That pure devotees, what they see in their realization is perfect, and Krishna, he confirmed to Sanatan Goswami that what my devotee wrote about me is perfect. And Sanatan Goswami was able to see the Leela of Radha and Krishna going on because of his pure heart. So when we are covered by anarthas, so yesterday was also Maharaj was also saying about the blind people when they see the elephant, each one of them see it as differently based on what they perceive from their own senses. But our senses are imperfect. So what we should do is what Brahmaji says, Jnane prayasadapasyanamante eva jivanti sanmakritam bhavadiya vartam sthane sthita shruti-gatam tanman manobhi ye prayaso ajita apite strilokyam. So we should give up all kind of mental speculations, and with our body, our mind and our words, we should do service to Radha and Krishna by hearing about them and serving them and प्रभु कहे वैष्णव सेवा नाम संकीर्तन. So Vaishnav Seva Nam Sankirtan to purify our hearts of all the anarthas, then we'll be able to conquer that Krishna who is unconquerable. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Very nice. Anybody like to say anything on the pastime or any comments? We have Kishori Priya Mataji with us. Would she like to share anything from the reading yesterday? She's hearing, I don't know.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. So yesterday, one of the salient points that Srila Prabhupada was making across all the purports that we read. So we read the passing away of Bhishma Dev, and the next portion is about Yudhishthir. So basically Krishna leaving for Dwarka. But what was really highlighted in these last few verses of the chapter 9 and chapter 10, the beginning of chapter 10, was actually the role of a king, which we are not so familiar with these days. So in those days, and Srila Prabhupada also highlights what monarchy really means and how monarchy is a real way to be like the government. The present government is just not the right way. So basically, the kings, they were themselves. So one very important point that we came across was the king has to be surrendered completely at the lotus feet of the Lord in order to be a king. And Yudhishthir Maharaj had this quality, Parikshit Maharaj had this quality. And the second thing is the king is also thinking of the welfare of his citizens in terms of their own spiritual advancement. So the whole society is working towards spiritual advancement and not really material advancement. However, because of their surrender to the lotus feet of the Lord, all material opulences automatically come to them. So, for example, rain, they get timely rains. The rivers are providing them with fresh drinking water. There's so many jewels that they can get. There's so all the material stuff, right? The crops are very abundant. They have abundant milk because the cows, just walking on the grass, they are shedding milk. And so there's so much material opulence that accompanies the spiritual advancement because of how the king is. And Srila Prabhupada makes a comparison with the current world where politicians are thinking about their own welfare. And as a result of which the citizens are suffering, there's so much unrest. And the main point here is that we've discussed this before. If we keep Krishna in the center, if the whole world has God in the center, then there won't be any collision. So this example is given. If you have only one center, and so you have all these concentric circles, right? If you throw a stone in water, it just creates one center, and then there are concentric circles. But if you throw multiple stones in the water, then the circles collide with each other. So our self-interests often collide, and Srila Prabhupada says very clearly there that Krishna is not responsible for all the wars that are going on because of self-motivated self-interests, right? These things are just motivated by self-interest. So this was the main theme of what we read yesterday. Thank you, Shotsu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, nice. Okay. What is the peace formula in the Bhagavatam?
Bhoktaramyagnatapasam sarvalokamaheshwaram suridam sarvabhutanam gyanatvam chantim rachiti. Knowing that Krishna is a proprietor, Krishna is the enjoyer, and Krishna is my best friend, you can attain peace.
Thank you. Okay. So we'll read So it is not only just saying that Krishna is the proprietor and Krishna is the controller and Krishna is the enjoyer, but actually feeling like that in our heart and keeping Krishna in the center. So, like in every tradition, they believe in God, right? But in God we trust, we say, like, but they're not really like, if you really accept the position of God, then you will serve God and you will keep God in center, not yourself in the center. So that's the so in every country they, but still they are fighting. Right? There is still fighting going on. In Russia also they worship God, and Ukraine also they worship God. But the leaders also, of course, they are not feeling that God is the center. Everything belongs to God. This land is not mine. So like that consciousness is not there. So that consciousness really comes, from hearing from the great souls. So if you're not connected to parampara and hearing from the great souls, then you won't get that consciousness. So, so then there is fighting. So, okay. That's why this verse you are quoting, right? Jivanti sanmukharitam bhavadiyavartam. You hear from the great souls because they are in that consciousness. And because they are in that consciousness, when we hear from the great souls who are in that consciousness, we will get their consciousness. So,
Yeah, and Srila Prabhupada, in one of the verses, he actually paraphrases 325:25, the famous verse, Satam Prasangam Mama Vidya Samvito. So he talks about the process also, just by hearing how we get purified, and then we develop taste for more hearing. And that is the path of liberation for us. And that's how we attain Prema Bhakti. And the other opposite, when we don't hear, then we just become self-absorbed.
yeah. Everything's based on here. Yeah.
And also the attitude in which we are hearing. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. In the mode of humility that I don't know. Like yesterday, Maharaj was saying that if we have this, attitude, I know everything and what this person can tell me, then even if we are hearing, there is no transformation, there is no impact. Humility is the foundation of bhakti. If we are not humble, then actually we can't hear from the person, right? You would think that how much he knows, or how can, if he doesn't know much, then even if we are physically present or hearing, then there's no transformation. So humility, uh, knowing that I don't know anything, so then we can learn.
Who had that attitude before their spiritual master? He said, who said like that? My spiritual master taught
Chaitanya
me.
Mahaprabhu,
Chaitanya.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that I was a fool, right?
Murkha dekhi. Oh, that's a verse like that. Hey more murkha dekhi. Korila sashan. Something like that. He told me to chant Hare Krishna mantra.
Yeah, let me paste the verse. मूर्ख तुम्ही तुम्हार नाही का वेदांत अधिकार कृष्ण मंत्र जप सदा यही मंत्र सार. My spiritual master told that you are a fool. You're not qualified to study. Like, is there a different verse?
I think this is good. This is also conveying the same. Yeah. This is the one.
Yeah. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Lord, is saying that I am a fool.
Actually, we are fools. We have, in one sense, we are, not one sense, all sense. We have come to this material world, rejecting the loving shelter of Krishna. We have come to suffer in this material world. Otherwise, we won't be here. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said, if I had love for Krishna, how would I live in this material world? So we are like fools in one sense, that we have denied, we have neglected, ignored Krishna and come here to enjoy independently. So, yeah. So knowing that, we should remember that, and we can remain humble. And all the mistakes we have made in our life, we can remain humble. And another thing I was thinking, it's not about somebody may be great pandit and everything, but it's about the purity of heart, and how much you actually believe what you speak, and how much you are willing to implement that in your life, how much you are willing to surrender to Krishna. So that is the main thing that will affect others, and that will inspire faith also in others, because it's about like, yeah, our purity. Purity is the force. That's what they say. And the great souls may speak the most simplest thing and the most basic things, and that can touch our hearts very deeply. So that's why when sadhus come, we go to hear that, even though they may not be speaking esoteric stuff or some basic stuff, may not be speaking very advanced. Yeah.
Yeah, like Achinte Gopal Prabhu asked yesterday, how would we know that if somebody has anurag, right? So Prabhupada says these characteristics in somebody in whom Ashantira Vyartha Kalatvam Viraktira Manashunyata, in whom the bhav symptoms have started to develop. So these we can actually see in the lives of the sadhu. Like, yeah, it's not about them just saying it or nicely speaking. It's about how they're conducting their life. And then when they say even simple things, then it will have a greater impact on us, because we have seen how they are conducting their life, how they're serving Krishna. So abodh achar and prachar.
That
Because
will inspire us. Yeah. That will inspire us.
nobody cares. Like there's a that says
Nobody
nobody
cares
cares
how
how
much.
much you know unless they know how much you care. Also showing affection to others. You can speak philosophy, but unless you are affectionate to others, nobody wants to hear from you.
That's what I was thinking about Krishna's qualities. Krishna is great, he creates so many universes. But the one quality that kind of stands out for all devotees is that he's very kind. So he's very kind and he's very merciful. Because you may have all the qualities, all the other qualities, but if the person is not, if God is not kind and he's very, then you get repulsed. So this is the quality. Bhakta Vatsal, he also likes to be. He magnifies, somebody does even little bit, he magnifies. He has that quality. Little service that has been done. Krishna takes it, like Ajamil, he just chanted Narayan. And the Narayan was not like for Narayan, but Narayan gave him the benefit of doubt. Like he tells Gop Kumar, I was trying to find some excuse to bring you back, to violate even my own laws that I've created, just trying to find some loophole to bring you back. So that's the nature of the Lord. And what about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu? Oh, they are so much more merciful. So, so that is our hope. And
so that is why even Shukdev Goswami, who was already a liberated soul when he came out of the womb of his mother, even he didn't get so much attracted by hearing Varahapidam, but then when he heard Ahobakiyam, it just, like, that was it. He surrendered. So we are all looking for that love. And that is what touches our hearts.
Yeah, and only a loving person can give us shelter. So, I mean, they may correct you, but everything is with love. So it is with love. They have no envy. Your ever well wisher is Prabhupada. So everybody was attracted to Prabhupada because they don't have any envy in the heart for anybody. They just want to help everybody. So that's how so many got attracted to Srila Prabhupada. Okay, so we will read Srimad Bhagavatam unless somebody like to say.
I think we were hearing a class on envy, right? Vrindavan Prabhu was speaking. But envy towards Krishna is shown as envy towards others. We might not envy Krishna. We might not think that, oh, how can I envy the Supreme Lord? But if we envy devotees, then it's showing our envy towards Krishna.
Yeah, because we are envying the part and parcels of Krishna. So, yeah, sometimes we may say God is great. That's why it is said, if we just worship God but don't honor the devotees, then we are in Kanishta stage. So, if we just think it's me and the Lord and there is nobody else, and we don't recognize the Lord, so devotees, then we are in the Kanishta. Archayam eva haraye pujayam shraddhayanvitaha na tad bhakteshu chanyeshu sabhakta prakrita smitaha. So, and we don't know how to deal with other living entities and like that. So, everybody is part and parcel of the Lord. So, knowing that everybody is very dear to Krishna. So that's because otherwise we think I am the greatest devotee, like that song, right? That Raj Bihari Prabhu was singing. गणपति देवा तुमसे बढ़कर कौन और तुम्हारे भक्त में हमसे बढ़कर कौन. Something like that. So we will feel like that. So again that pride comes. Yeah. Okay. Alright, so we'll read some verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is all, I think, Sankhya philosophy, maybe this. Sanshayo tha viparyasho nishchaya smriti revacha swapa ityuchyate buddhir lakshanam prititha pritak. Also, I was thinking that Vaishnavas are saragrahi. They look at the good in others. Like Prabhupada gives example of the bee and the fly. So the bee always goes for honey, fly always goes for the source. That's one thing. And yeah, because Krishna also looks at some good quality that is there and he appreciates that good quality and gives, like that in Kartik we talk about that mouse, right? How the mouse got flame and it's not offering lamb to Krishna, but Krishna is thinking, oh, he's offering some deep to me. So like that. So that's why they say if Putana came with an evil intention to kill Krishna and she got the liberation, Krishna took the good in her, although she was not thinking like that. Yeah. She just wanted to kill Krishna, but she thought, oh, she's offering me some milk and like that in the form of a mother. So Dhatri Uchitam, she got the liberation of a Dhatri. So what about those who serve, even with little love? We may not have full love, but even if little love we serve Krishna, some feeling, then Krishna feels very obliged to that person. And that's why when we offend the devotees, then it's like Krishna doesn't like it. So that's how, even they may have so many faults, but they are doing devotional service. So, because I have been, yeah, sometimes in management you have to see, but You have to see everybody's devotee. How many people are chanting Hare Krishna and doing service and all that. So there may be some faults. We have faults also. Uh, so then we should maybe correct, but everything should be done with very love and not in, yeah, just like a dictator. So, okay. Sanshayot, okay, we read this. Doubt, misapprehension, correct apprehension, memory, and sleep. As determined, the different functions are said to be the distinct characteristics of intelligence. So, doubt is a sign of intelligence. Because if we are not doubtful, then we will accept anything and everything as genuine. So, that is also there. We don't just accept somebody says it's gold, and if you're not doubtful, we say, yeah, it's gold. It's not gold, it's some pittal, it's bronze, or what do you call the other one? Pittal is called what? Pittal is called bronze?
Copper.
Copper.
Copper, yeah, copper. So we have to, uh, yeah, we have to see with our intelligence, not just accept anything and everything. Just like when we decide on, which institution we should be attached to for spiritual advancement, then we have to analyze, say, okay, well, this person, are they speaking according to Bhagavad Gita? This is so many things we have to see. And then because Krishna Vande Jagat Guru. So if we don't have that doubt, but of course it's not always doubting, because Krishna says, for the doubting soul, there is no happiness in this world or the next. So at least scriptures we should accept as perfect. And whatever Prabhupada is saying is perfect. That because I'm not very intelligent, more intelligent than Prabhupada. Prabhupada is more, Mahatma Prabhu was saying, we are not so intelligent. Because our ahankar makes us think that I know everything, and I know everything. So who can tell me anything? So that's the so not that we always keep doubting, but some doubt and analysis to figure out genuinity is required. So it says doubt, misapprehension, correct apprehension. Then you come with intelligence, you come to the right conclusion, correct apprehension. Memory and sleep, as determined by, are said to be the distinct characteristics of intelligence. Memory means the ability to remember the instructions, and then with intelligence to apply those instructions in practical day-to-day life. So if you have memory, which comes also ultimately also from Krishna. So that I think we'll see what Prabhupada says. Okay, Pittal is brass, yeah. Bronze is what? Bronze and brass is same?
No, it's cast. Cast, they say, right? What is that called in Olympics and all? They say, right? Bronze is
Medal.
Khasya.
Okay. Tamba is copper. Okay. Okay. Doubt is one of the important functions of intelligence. Blind acceptance of something does not give evidence of intelligence. Therefore, the word sanshaya is very important. In order to cultivate intelligence, one should be doubtful in the beginning. But doubting is not very favorable when information is received from the proper source. So that is also another thing, that we keep doubting. That's even after we are receiving the information from proper source, purpose, then we should not doubt. And doubt is also removed when you have experience that what is being said is true. So then doubt is removed, and your faith increases by experience also. Like yesterday Maharaj was saying that, you chant Hare Krishna, everybody has some anubhav of some experience we get. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, doubting the words of authority is the cause of destruction. So, doubting the words of authority is the cause. Like Krishna is the ultimate authority. And if you doubt the words of Krishna, then Yaha Shastra Vidim Ustrijya. Yesterday he was quoting this one. What is the verse? Yaha Shastra Vidim.
काम कायता न सिद्धिमवाप्नोति न सुखम न पराम गतिम. One who discards scriptural injunctions, they can neither attain perfection, happiness, or supreme destination, param gati.
So ultimately, do we have to beat ourselves and say, no, this is true, even if we don't feel like it is true? Do we just, become like, how do we convince ourselves that this is true? So then that one way to convince ourselves what Krishna is saying is true is by observing this world. By observing this world, what Krishna is saying. Dukkhalayam asashvatam. We may not believe, but by observing this world, we can come to the conclusion, yes, this is true. And experience in our own life. So both the things enhance what Krishna is saying. Means they are corroborating what Krishna is saying. So at least in Dukkhalayam asashvatam. There are other things also when Krishna says, I am God, and those who serve me, they ultimately attain the supreme peace, like that. So when we serve Krishna, we experience some peace, some happiness. Susukham kartum avyayam, Krishna is saying. Then we know it is true. Like Maharaj was quoting this verse yesterday. Pratyakshavagamam dharmyam susukham kartum. So you get some experience at least. Then you get some relief from mental distress and so many things. So this is true in that way. As described in the Patanjali.
Also bhakti parishano bhavo virakti, right? So we get devotion, we get direct experience, anubhav.
And detachment from
and
many
detachment, things. Just like how when we eat, we get happiness, nourishment, and we don't feel hunger anymore. So so that verse also says anubhav.
Correct. And if we are not getting the anubhav, means we are not following the process properly. And or we can also say we are very conditioned, yet we are very conditioned from so many lifetimes. So it will take time. But I'm getting something. I'm not getting the full thing because of many things. So, but I'm getting something. So if I do properly follow the process, maybe I'll get more things like that. So in that way, we can not give up the process. Oh, I'm chanting Hare Krishna, but the tears are not coming, my hairs are not standing on end, my voice is not choking. These symptoms are said when you chant Hare Krishna. These things will happen, but it's not happening to me. I don't know whether this process works or not. Okay, then what's the alternative? The alternative is just you follow your mind and just that can't be the alternative. But so great souls have said this, many people have experienced. So I will also experience. It may take some time. In due course of time, I will also experience. So like that. As Maharaj was saying yesterday.
Go ahead, Prem.
No, I was just saying one thing that Maharaj says, once you start devotional service, you'll come to perfection. Krishna will, even if you fall down, Krishna will not leave you. He will guide you to perfection.
Yeah. I mean, I was just saying Shivendra Prabhu asked this question yesterday, right? In bhakti, we don't see any results, but in material activities, we see immediate results. So that's why everybody does not put priority on bhakti. I mean, bhakti, like we have to go through several stages, right? Shraddha, sadhu, sangha, bhajan kiya, anartha nivritti, nishtha, ruchi, asakti, bhav, like that, those, tears in the eyes that come in that stage of bhav, that we have to go past that anartha nivritti stage, which is a long stage. But eventually we will reach there, and we are work in progress, right? So, but we will reach there only if we do every day, Sat Krishna Nam Charitadi Sitape. Every day you carefully chant the holy names. Then one day you'll cross that stage of anartha, reach that Bha platform. But yeah, the results might not come. We should not be disheartened. That's why what Nectar of Instruction says that what's that? Utsaha Nishchaya Dhairya, right? Patience. We should be enthusiastic, endeavoring with confidence, and being patient. Even though we are not seeing results, we should continue the sadhana bhakti, Vaidi sadhana bhakti, following the rules and regulations, orders of the spiritual master, out of duty first. Then we'll come to the stage of out of love.
Yeah, Shivendra want to say something.
Noted, Sugandha Mataji. That was
Thank
not for me. That was in general, like people do not
you.
do kind of and
Correct.
because they do not see the result, and that's why people are not attached toward this because when people know that if I do this, it will happen. So suppose we saw that astrologer chart, right? Your this is coming, that is coming. So people try to get aligned. So people are senseful, but then um, they see the result and they will get aligned kind of. If they do not see result, they see okay, abhi kuch fayda nahi hota, nothing happens, right? So people are not that get aligned. And I'm talking about the mass population. Like we are like 100, 200, 500 people are getting aligned, but there is a larger people, like millions of people are there. And some people are getting misaligned also. They go to a different religion, different God and everything because they do not know
Correct.
properly, right? So
Yeah,
that kind
that's
of
right.
situation we can avoid if the result start coming kind of. So they will know that okay, if I do this, I get this. Finish.
Yeah. Yeah, I was there in the temple one time, and I had told one lady to chant Hare Krishna, spend 1 hour or so, and she said, "In 1 hour, I can make so much money. Why would I spend?" She
Okay.
actually said that I can make so much money in 1 hour. Why would I spend my time doing this? Because yeah, they're looking at material wealth, and they don't know the significance of spiritual wealth. So yeah, most of the people are looking for material, results.
Yesterday, Maharaj also mentioned, right, that what you will get material wealth, all the things will come, rains. Was it he who mentioned that?
Correct. Yes. He said the holy name will give you everything. Dharma, artha, kam, moksha. This is like what everybody is asking for, but even pancham purushartha, Krishna prem. But all this will be attained through holy name. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, like all the necessities of life will come. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yagna karma samudbhava. Yagna is born of prescribed duties. And then he says, Annad bhavanti bhutani parjan yadanna sambhava. So
Correct.
Prabhupada says, if you do Sankirtan Yagna, yeah. You want to say something?
No.
Okay. Yeah, so that's how there was a drought in Andhra Pradesh one time and they chanted Hare Krishna and then it rained. So by serving God, all the necessities of life will be supplied, everything will be there. Okay. So, as described in the Patanjali Yoga system, Pramana, Viparyaya, Vikalpa, Nidra, Smritaya. By intelligence only one can understand things as they are. By intelligence only one can understand whether or not he is the body. And the example is given that we say, my hand, my leg, my house, my car. Means all the leg and the hand all are different from me. So by intelligence we can understand. I possess the body, but I am not the body. Like we say my body, we don't say I body. So just as we say my house, my car, so we say my body means I'm in possession of the body, I'm in possession of the house. So like that, if we analyze, then we can understand that we are not the body, and we say he passed away. So then his body is there, he passed away means the soul passed away. So realize the soul. The study to determine whether one's identity is spiritual or material begins in doubt. When one is able to analyze his actual position, the false identification with the body is detected. And also, as our heart becomes clean, because of the anarthas, we are identifying with the body and in the heart. So when we chant Hare Krishna, it cleanses the mirror of the heart, and then we are in our pure consciousness that I am servant of Krishna, I am not this body, I am spirit, soul. So if there is, because of dirty things, we are not able to see things as they are. Because of anarthas in the heart and our ahankar and all these things, we are not able to see things as they are. So we have to clean the heart by devotional service. And then we can see, because we see based on our consciousness. I perceive myself based on my consciousness, who I am. Like when we are in contaminated consciousness, we have so many designations about who we are. I'm man, I'm woman, I'm engineer, I'm Indian, I belong to this family, I'm South Indian, then I'm North Indian, I'm Gujarati. So we see, identify with so many designations with the body, and this is all because of our contaminated consciousness. This is viparyas, when false identification. So when we turn away from Krishna, viparyo smritihi, it is described that the memory is lost of who we are when we turn away from Krishna. When false identification is detected, so when you find out, oh, this is false, the real identification can be understood. So naiti, 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 maybe you come to the, not this, I'm not this hand, I'm not this leg, I'm not this, I'm not this. Real understanding is described here as nishchaya, or proved experimental knowledge. Nishchaya also means, निश्चय means decision, right? We say मैंने निश्चय कर लिया है. निश्चय, उत्साहात, निश्चय, धैर्य.
Determination.
Huh?
Determination, firm determination.
Determination, confidence. या नहीं, जैसे हम हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना, निश्चय, मैंने निश्चय कर लिया है कि मुझे यहाँ जाना है. निश्चय means, yeah, निश्चय means you have, yeah, if you have decided, you have determination. Basically kind of go together, your decision. Like Arjuna says, Yashriyashyan nischitam bruhitan me. Please definitely, decisively tell me what is my Shreya. Please tell me what is good. Nishchitam. So, nishchit means fixed, yes. So
there is, so the what is it? Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasan, and after that comes Nishchay. So that's the process also.
So when you have done Nishchay, that yes, I will serve Krishna and I will surrender to Krishna. So that's the best Nishchay. After contemplating, after hearing, then you decide, I'll serve Krishna, or proved.
I also heard Shravanam, Mananam, Nidhi, Dhyasan, and Sakshadkaram. Then you get the real, when you can experience Krishna.
Sakshadkaran. And Sajendra Maharaj says Vandanam, then you have to pray also. Yeah, in his article he says Vandanam also. If you pray, then you will realize. So, Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasan. And then ability to apply, after contemplating what is right, then you pray to implement the right thing. Sakshatkaran. So you get actual experience. Sakshat means Sakshat Haritvena Samashta Sastre. We say that. Means factually, Sakshat. This experimental knowledge can be achieved when one has understood the false knowledge. By experimental or proved knowledge, one can understand that he is not the body but spirit soul. It's difficult, but when our heart becomes clean. Smriti means memory, and swapa means sleep. Sleep is also necessary to keep the intelligence in working order. Yeah, so we can't, you know, we can't imitate Raghunath Das Goswami or anybody who don't used to sleep. Hardly they used to sleep. But for generally, we need sleep to keep necessary to keep the intelligence in working order. If there is no sleep, the brain cannot work nicely. Like I remember those days when I didn't used to sleep because I had to study for the exam and so many things to study. So I would hardly sleep like 2 3 hours, 3 hours, and then just. But then in the exam, you can feel like your brain is all can't even, especially if that exam requires some thought and some intelligence. Then intelligence doesn't work at that time, even materially speaking. So you need proper rest. If there is no sleep, the brain cannot work nicely because you are tired and not fresh. Even our chanting gets affected if are not fresh. In Bhagavad Gita, it is especially mentioned that persons who regulate eating, sleeping, and other necessities of the body in proper proportion become very successful in the yoga process. So one who does not eat. What is that verse? Does not eat too much.
युक्ताहार विहारस्य युक्तचेतसः
Swapnavabodhas.
Yeah.
Yoga dukha.
युक्तस्वप्नावबोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखः.
So it has to be in proper balance. As every vitamin in our body. Can't be too much, can't be too less. If it is too much, it's also a problem. It can't be too little also. It has to be in balance. These are some of the aspects of analytical study of intelligence as described in both Patanjali Yoga System and Sankhya Philosophy System of Kapila Dev Instrument Bhagavad. Okay. One more verse. Any other comments on this? Sleep is also like very mystical process. You just sleep, you close your eyes, and then you just drift away into sleep. I mean, it's when you don't get sleep, then you can understand how difficult it is. So it is also the blessing of the Lord that, whenever we can sleep, it is Krishna's mercy that we can sleep. And otherwise, without sleep, there are many people who are suffering from insomnia. And life becomes very difficult when you have insomnia. Because can't sleep, then you can't function also. So it's also Krishna's mercy that we can sleep. And there is sometimes, of course, we can take melatonin and so many other drugs are there, yes, to induce sleep. But if we don't have sleep issues, then we should consider that as the mercy of the Lord. Because sleep is required for good health. That's when even medical science is, that's when body rejuvenates itself and the immune system, it builds itself up, it discards wastes, all these things are there. So sleep is necessary.
Somebody
sleep,
who has sleep problems, mostly due to anxieties in the mind, right?
Exactly.
And attachments, maybe.
Yes. Because the mind is so active also. For many, like anxiety if you're doing business and so much is at stake, then it's like, you're going to, your things are going to work or not work, and there's so much risk, and there is some anxiety because of that, because you want to make more money for enjoyment. You have enough, but you want to like make more money, and then you have anxiety about it, or there is some object of sense gratification that you want, and like that you're hankering. So all these things basically creates anxiety. Bhukti mukti siddhi kami sakala ashanta. So ashanta means no peace, anxiety. So one symptom of devotional service, because it reduces our material desires, that's why we can even sleep peacefully, because there is less material desires now. More material desires, more the anxiety, and then you can be peaceful. So that is there also. And children, because they depend on their parents, they have no anxiety. So similarly, when we depend on Krishna and take shelter of Krishna, depend on Krishna, then there is less anxiety. Actually, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, right? You Machita satatam bhava. He says, in all activities, just be conscious of me and depend upon me and work under my protection. In the 18th chapter, I think he says. So, Machita satatam bhava. What is that verse? Find it in the 18th chapter. It's 18. So when 57, 1857, Krishna says, Chetasa sarva karmani mai sanyasya matparaha buddhi yogam upashritya machita satatam bhava. In all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. So if we take shelter of devotees, then also it is equivalent to taking shelter of Krishna. And we know that there is somebody who I can depend upon, who I can count upon. And in this way, I will be given shelter. Like Prabhupada told about the dogs in Juhu. Right? He says, why the dog is in anxiety, the other dog, street dog, is in anxiety? Because he doesn't have a master. But those dogs that have a master, they are not in anxiety, because they know they are protected by the master. So, so like that. Okay. So next verse we can read. Tejasanindriyani ya eva kriya jnana vibhagasha pranasya hi kriya shaktir buddhir vijnana shaktita. Egoism in the mode of passion produces two kinds of senses. The senses for acquiring knowledge and the senses of action. The senses of action depend on the vital energy, and the senses for acquiring knowledge depend on intelligence. So this is karmendriya and jnanendriyas are produced by ahankar in Rajoguna. Senses of action, karmendriya, depend on the vital energy, and senses of for acquiring knowledge depend on intelligence. So karmendriyas depend on vital energy. We'll see what Prabhupada says, and Gyanendriyas depend on intelligence. It has been explained in the previous verses that mind is the product of ego in goodness, and that the function of mind is acceptance and rejection according to desire. What is it called in, we say, function of mind, accepts and rejects. What are the two words? Accepting and rejecting. Huh?
Sankalpa and Vikalpa.
Sankalpa and Vikalpa. That is the distinction between mind and intelligence. Mind is a product of egoism in the mode of in goodness, and intelligence is a product of egoism in passion. The desire to accept something and reject something is a very important factor of the mind. Since mind is a product of mode of goodness, if it is fixed upon the Lord of mind, Aniruddha, then the mind can be changed to Krishna consciousness. So we also say, anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam. So accepting things that are favorable and rejecting things that are not favorable. Since mind is a product of the mode of goodness, if it is fixed upon the Lord of the mind, Aniruddha, then the mind can be changed to Krishna consciousness. It is stated by Narottam Das Thakur that we always have desires. Desire cannot be stopped. We have to only change our desires. Desires are always there. But we can't become desireless, we can change our desires. But if we transfer, means change, our desires to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is the perfection of life. As soon as desire is transferred to lording it over material nature, it becomes contaminated by matter. Desire has to be purified. In the beginning, this purification, so the whole Bhagavad Gita was spoken to bring about a change of desire in Arjuna. So spiritual life is ultimately to bring about change of desires from lording it over material nature to pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the beginning, this purification process is to be carried out by the order of the spiritual master, and since the spiritual master knows how the disciples' desires can be transformed into Krishna consciousness. So dovetailing that desires. As far as intelligence is concerned, it is clearly stated here that it is a product of egoism and passion. By practice, one comes to the point of mode of goodness, and by surrendering or fixing the mind upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one becomes a very great personality or Mahatma. So by practice, and if we are in the association of those who are in the mode of goodness, then we will come to the point of mode of goodness. So by association, karanam guna sangasya. So because of the association, we are affected by different modes of nature. So if we practice in the association of the exalted devotees, then we'll change our desires. We'll come to the point of mode of goodness. And by surrendering or fixing the mind upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one becomes a very great personality or Mahatma. In Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly said, Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha, such a great soul is very rare. In this verse, it is clear that both kinds of senses, the senses for acquiring knowledge and the senses for action, are products of egoism in the mode of passion. And because the sense organs for activity and for acquiring knowledge require energy, the vital energy or life energy is also produced by egoism in the mode of passion. We can actually see, therefore, that those who are very passionate can improve in material acquisition very quickly. Means they're working very hard and then they get a lot of, assets. It is recommended in the Vedic scriptures that if one wants to encourage a person in acquiring material possession, one should also encourage him in sex life, because that's the impetus for making material advancement, as the verse says, right? What is that verse? That how the thing expands. How does it start? What is the first word? I'm forgetting. How the thing expands. How does it start? How I'm forgetting the first word. What is the verse?
Size 3, 3.
Correct. That's the word. Yeah. Pumsam, I was not remembering. Pumsas striya mithuni bhavametam tayor mitho hridaya granthi mahu. Ato griha kshetra suta apta vitter janasya mohaya mahamamedi. That's how. Prabhupada in one lecture was saying that they wanted to hire some employee. They were looking for an employee, but they wanted to find out whether he was married or not. Well, that what is that to do? Because they were thinking that if he's married, then he will have some impetus for working a job because he will have no necessities for house, and if he has children, then he has to feed his children. There is responsibility, so he will work responsibly. But for a person who is not married, he doesn't have that much impetus for economic advancement because he can give up his job any time because he's not concerned about so many people depending on him and like that. So Prabhupada was saying that they wanted to find out whether the person was married or not. In one lecture he was saying like that. So of course there is Grihastha Ashram, and then in Grihastha Ashram there is a responsibility, as Prabhupada was saying, when we do our Grihastha Ashram in very pure way, then we are ready to accept Vanaprastha and like that. Sannyasa. I was saying yesterday. But most people are in Griha Medi platform, not in Grihastha platform. So we naturally find that those who are addicted to sex life are also materially advanced because sex life or passionate life is the impetus for material advancement of civilization. So hard work, you do only hard work. And there is, for those who want to make spiritual advancement, there is almost no existence of the mode of passion. And they don't want to like create things in this world, and they want to get out of this world and they want to go back home, back to Godhead. And of course, they want to make nice. And the kings also, they are Kshatriyas. They have to, mode of passion is there. They have to rule and they have to defend against. Only the mode of goodness is prominent. We find that those who engage in Krishna consciousness, and there is no greed also. Mode of passion is characterized by greed. So there is no like, I want to do more so that I can get more. And of course, you can have that for Krishna service. You want to become like get better salary or something like that because you want to serve Krishna. There are many also devotees like that. Actually, I was thinking like if you are earning, let's say, $4,000 or $5,000 every 2 weeks, whatever your salary is, 2,000, 5,000, and then you give some portion or you use. So every day you are working 8 hours, let's say, for 2 weeks, and then you give, let's say, you gave 2,500 out of 5,000 to Krishna. You are earn. That means you have given half of your week's time in the service of Krishna. Half of your 2 weeks. 1 week you given to Krishna. The 8 hours. So if you say 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours. So 40 hours, 1 week. You give half the. So 40 hours you gave. The results of your 40 hours of your work you gave to Krishna. So that is how we can also think that we can think of our job as a service to Krishna. So we find that those who engage in Krishna consciousness, and when we are doing our work, we should also think, I'm doing it for Krishna. So because the results are going to Krishna, so I'm doing it for Krishna.
Yeah, because ultimately it's a consciousness have to be changed, right? We should remember Krishna, and the time of death we should be thinking of Krishna, not about our work. So that's why in the yoga ladder, the order, Krishna says, just fix your mind upon me. But if you're not able to do that, follow the path of sadhana bhakti. If you're not able to do that, then work for me. And we
Correct.
should not work more than 40 hours, just minimal to meet our needs and be able to do donation. But the sadhana bhakti cannot be replaced by, giving just the fruits of our work to Krishna. We have to
Correct.
do direct sadhana.
Yes, it should not be like so much work that we don't have time to do our sadhana and like that. Then it is over endeavor, right? Then we don't have time to associate with devotees to hear the scriptures and like that. But we are working. Yeah, that's okay. You may say I'm working to give to Krishna, but one thing is how much you are giving to Krishna. That is one thing, and then the basic sadhana cannot be compromised because Prabhupada says that's of all the regulatory principles, the spiritual master's order to chant 16 rounds is most essential. So that's correct, yeah. And also we have karma shayan, the desire to enjoy the fruits of our activities. Karma asha, like that. What is that prayer? Om Namo Bhagavate Narsingaya Namo Tejas. Karma shayan, karma asha. So in that prayer it says, because one reason we are in this material world is because we want to enjoy the fruits of our action for ourselves. We don't want to give the fruits of our action for Krishna's pleasure. Of course, it doesn't mean giving to the temple. It means you are using it in Krishna's service. So even in your house, you can do it. You can offer food and everything. But that is the thing. I can, with that money, I can go on vacation and I can do so many things. I can do so many sense gratificatory activities because we want to enjoy, we want to keep the fruits of. That's why also we are transmigrating because we are not willing to uh, part with the fruits of our action for Krishna's pleasure. So in the prayer to Nrsingadev, Prahlad Maharaj is saying, drive away all these fruitive desires for enjoyment in this world. So yeah. We find that those who engage in Krishna consciousness are materially poor, but one who has eyes can see who is greater. Although he appears to be materially poor, a person in Krishna consciousness is not actually a poor man. But the person who has no taste for Krishna and appears to be very happy with material possessions is actually poor. So you may have a big house, but you are poor, Prabhupada is saying. Whereas a person may be impoverished and not like, and he's not poor because he has wealth of Krishna consciousness. He has taste for serving Krishna, and then there is a rich person who has all the material possessions, but he has no taste for Krishna consciousness, then he's poor. So if you want to become wealthy, we have to get the wealth of the desire to serve Krishna. So taste. Persons infatuated by material consciousness. Yeah.
Yeah, I was remembering to Kolavech's Sridhar Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's. Kolavech's Sridhar, he was wearing torn clothes, right, with knots. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him, "You are actually very rich. You are hiding your wealth." Something he said like this. You have got great wealth and you're secretly enjoying.
Yeah, correct.
And
One
someday I
day
will reveal the wealth that you have. Something he said. And then in Mahaprakash Leela, he reveals how great of a devotee is Kulavechas Sridhar. And whatever he had, he would give 50% of his to Puja Ganga, right? Yeah.
worship Ganga.
Yeah. So
What was
he,
that wealth? The wealth was his lota also. I mean, in one sense, yeah, it was correct.
I mean, his pure love for Krishna was as well. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him, "You ask me for anything, all the siddhis and all," ultimately he said, "I just want to always be that banana leaf seller and Nimai should come and steal my bananas. That's all I desire." So one who's satisfied with what Krishna has given him in bhakti, right? Satisfaction is.
Correct. He's really wealthy. Yeah, correct. So, If you know how much wealthy you are, then you should find out how many things you have that money cannot buy. Satisfaction, money cannot buy satisfaction. Like that, or happiness, inner happiness. So, yeah. He said, one day I will reveal, and then in the Chaitanya Bhagavat it says that that lota that he had was so old and dented and like that even the most desperate thief would not even think of stealing it. And that lota he used to wash himself, to drink from. So just as devotee is attached to the Lord's possessions, like we on Radhashtami there is an auction in our temple of all the different paraphernalia of the Lord, and the devotees buy $1,000, and many of you have bought also many things related to Radhana towards paraphernalia. You give $1,000 for just a crown? What is that? Because the devotee is attached to, and that's not even a gold crown. It's just or something like that. But because the Lord has worn it, that's why the devotees feel very attached to it. Tadiya. So similarly, the Lord is also very attached to the tadiya of his devotee. Like in the case of Anda Lalwa, right? That she was wearing that garland first, and then it was being put on the Lord, and the Lord was liking it very much. That when her father discovered this, he stopped doing. He chastised Andal, and then Lord said, "No, no, no. That was the way I wanted it. That was very nice. The way she was accepting first and then giving it to me. This is very." But they are very exalted devotees. But yeah, so like Shabari, she was also offering her jhuta, but the Lord was relishing it very much because the Lord likes that from the devotee. So,
Also, Raghunath Das was eating, Jagannath Prasad, which was thrown to the cows that even cows cannot eat, were rejecting. So Raghunath Das was eating that, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to him and said, "You are eating secretly very nice things." And he snatched from him, and he said, "I've never tasted such prasad before." And Swarup Damodar stopped him from. So, yeah, that was also remnants of Raghunath Das.
nice. Sudama also, though still Poma. Krishna snatched it because he knew that Sudama has brought it with love and devotion. He's just embarrassed to give. Yeah. So throughout the scriptures, so many examples like this. Yeah, Raghunath Das Goswami, very amazing, right? Mahaprabhu is eating. Okay, so persons infatuated by material consciousness are very intelligent in discovering things for material comforts, but they have no access to understanding the spirit, soul, and spiritual life. So they think this world of matter is everything, and they don't have no access to the soul, even though they are very intelligent in material things. But Krishna says their knowledge has been stolen by knowledge has been stolen.
Maya.
Maya. What is the line there?
How does it?
No.
Maya
No.
Jnanam.
Huh?
Maya Apahita Jnanam.
Maya. Aparita means aparan. Aparan means kidnapped. So Jnanam, their Jnanam has been kidnapped by Maya because the real knowledge is gone. They have all this. Like that Prabhupada would say that they are PhDs and so many things, but they don't know who they are. Okay, we'll end with this. Therefore, if anyone wants to advance in spiritual life, he has to come back to the platform of purified desire. So we have to make our desires pure. That's pure devotee who has pure desires to serve Krishna, not mixed desires. The purified desire for devotional service. Moroe Abhilash Bilash Kunje Diyovas. My desire is that you will grant me a residence in the pleasure groves of Vrindavan. So we may not have that desire, but we are praying like that, and then we are praying. We want to have that desire. We can say we want to have a desire to have that desire. And the other way also. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. Mama janmani janmani Ishware. My desire is that you will engage me in your devotional service, life after life. I don't want these desires, I want this desire. So that's like yesterday we were hearing Amoglila Prabhu. He was saying that Krishna has made this world, although he says it's Dukhalayam, but there are so many things to enjoy in this world. He has not made it niras. He's not made it completely like without juice. Of course, in one sense it is, but there are so many things to enjoy. So Krishna wants to see that even though you have so many things to enjoy, you will give up those enjoyment for me. For me, you will forsake all this other enjoyment to love me. So Krishna wants to see that that despite all these facilities you have for enjoyment, you will still love me and not be carried away by those other things to enjoy. Therefore, if anyone wants to advance in spiritual life, he has to come back to the platform of purified desire for devotional service. As stated in Narada Pancharatra, engagement in the service of the Lord when the senses are purified in Krishna consciousness is called pure devotion. Which verse is that?
Sarvopadaganam tatparatvenam nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sikhanam bhaktaruchyate.
Okay, so we are going to stop there. Continue. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.